Maintaining a long, luxurious poodle or doodle coat is painstakingly time consuming. It takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of desire to want the best for your dog. I'm just going to be very frank with you here. If you have a poodle or a doodle and you are not brushing that dog every couple days to keep the mats out of the hair, or at least to maintain some sort of brushability, you're going to be sad, very sad, when the groomer tells you, hey, we just don't have time to fit you in this time, and they keep pushing you out further and further and further. If you're having a hard time getting into a groomer, it is not because they're busy usually. They might be busy, but they're busy taking the dogs that are easy for them to groom. They're not going to take a dog that has not been brushed for 2 months, 3 months, and then you bring them in and ask them to, make this cute little teddy bear look on their dog. I'm just going to be frank with you. That is just not something that a groomer is going to take time to do. They don't have time to demat your dog. If you think about each mat costing them even just a minute per mat, and there's 20 mats throughout the body. And in doodles or in poodles, the chances are of that, if you're not brushing them, is extremely high. 20 mats is nothing. So if there's 20 mats, that's 20 minutes. If it's only 1 minute a mat, which it's usually several minutes per mat, and some are even more than that. And I know a lot of people will say, just cut the mats out. Well, we can't do that. As groomers, we can't just do that, because what's going to happen is you're going to have that very uneven, ugly cut, because we can't just chop it's going to show. Let's just put it that way. It's going to show. So then somebody's going to come along and say, hey, who groomed your dog? And you're going to say, hey, High Mesa Standards did it. And you're not going to say, but it's really my fault that the dog looks like this because I don't brush it and I don't, maintain the coat. So they had to cut out all the mats. No, you're just going to say, oh, it's High Mesa Standards. And they're going to say, I'm never getting my dog groomed by them. And so no groomer is going to do that. No groomer wants that kind of reputation. And so they're going to either, one, put your dog through all this misery and, get through it as much as they can. And you're wondering why it takes so long for them to groom your dog. It's because they have to start from matted to beautiful in a couple hours. And that's just not going to happen. With this poodle, I keep a show coat on her, and it takes me 3 to 3.5 hours to groom her when I'm maintaining her coat. So that's saying I'm brushing her coat every few days. And I am putting oils in it sometimes. If it's dry, I'm putting sprays on it to keep it from breaking off. I am just maintaining my dog's coat. I'm maintaining her ears. I'm maintaining her nails. If you are going to have a standard poodle or a doodle, there is a lot of maintenance that goes into this dog. It's not just, a pretty coat. The nails grow very fast on a standard poodle, and hers, just because of me being gone, and I was gone 1 week, and then we've had puppies on the ground that I've been putting most of my effort in. Her nails have grown out to double what they're supposed to be. So they should be at least every week. They should be trimmed by you, not the groomer. So if you're not going to bring your dog in for even 6 weeks, 6 weeks to let a dog's nails grow out is too long. It's just too long. You have a dog and you need to keep it well groomed. In between grooming, the groomer just comes in and they're supposed to be able to wash it and give it a nice haircut. And for you to come in with a matted dog is like me going into the hairdresser with my daughter with a whole head of dreads and say, hey, make sure that you don't cut her hair too short, and can you demat everything, and I'll be back in an hour and a half. The hairstylist is going to laugh at you and say, I don't think so. This ain't going to happen. It's going to take me all day, if not a couple days, to get just the dreads dematted. You can do that, but your daughter's not going to handle that. It's painful. It hurts. And the only choice that you really have is to save the pain and the time that it takes is to chop it off at the roots and let it regrow and start all over. That's the humane thing to do. So if you are the type of person that has a doodle or has a poodle and you want to keep the hair long and full, then you must brush the hair every couple days. Don't bring the dog in unbrushed. Bring it in, go through it. If you've been brushing it every couple days, it's not hard for you to just go through your dog real quick and brush through it before you take it into the groomer, and then she doesn't have to spend all that extra time brushing little mats out and all that stuff. If you don't mind if the dog, or like, let's say you come into a period of time where you're ill, or you have these beautiful dogs and their beautiful coats, but you don't have time to brush them now because of a life circumstance, then just bring them in and have the groomer shave them down. There's no shame in that. And if somebody's judging you for that, that's their problem. I would think the most judgment that you're going to get is from somebody who sees that you have a long-coated dog, and when they touch it, they feel like there's solid mat. It's like a solid mat all the way underneath. That is not good for your dog. That is not good for their skin. You can't see what's going on underneath all those mats. You don't know if there's ticks. You don't know if there's fleas. You don't know if there's skin rashes or lumps or anything. Anything is possible. With these dogs, they have such a big coat that if you're going to keep a long, big coat that's really beautiful and luxurious, but if you're going to keep it, you need to see down to the roots regularly. You need to see into the ears regularly. They grow a lot of hair in their ears, doodles and poodles alike. Anything that's mixed with a poodle that has that real curly hair, they're going to have ear plugs of hairy, curly hair and wax. They're going to have eye cooties that need to be cleaned out daily. We should not be taking our dog to the groomer with eye goobers down to here. It's just not okay. It's not fair to the dog. They shouldn't have to walk around with eye goobers in their eyes. Not only that is, when you don't have a clean animal, you don't want to pet them as much. So you're not giving them the attention that they deserve because their eyes are all gross and their breath stinks and their nails are too long and they scratch you. It's not their fault. I mean, you brought them into this house, you brought them into your house, and they deserve to be well taken care of. So if it's something that you can't do, that you just say, I want the long-coated dog, but I don't want to brush it like that, I'm not going to, then maybe you should think about getting a short-haired dog. Get one that doesn't need the brushing. Get one that, is totally fine, and the dirt just kind of brushes right out of them whenever you do brush them. It's only a quick, swipe, 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 and they're done. And that's how some people in my family like to do it. They're like, no, not doing that hair. And to be totally honest, when my kids were little, I knew I could not take care of a poodle coat. And I have 4 poodle coats to take care of right now. But I didn't get a poodle. I always kept short-haired dogs whenever my kids were little because my kids were the priority at the time. And so therefore, I was not going to put a poodle through all of this that I could not maintain. So just be fair. Please be fair to the dogs. It's not their fault. They did not ask to have this hair. But their hair is a huge asset to the hunting world. They are able to get into some very, very cold water without it harming their organs. There are reasons that they developed the dog with this kind of hair. There was a purpose for it. And there still is if you are a hunter. But for those of us who just really love the coat, that's great, but we have to maintain it. So be fair to your dog, be fair to your groomer. It's not her fault either that you don't like to brush your dog. And like I said, if you find that your groomer is saying, I'm sorry, we don't have time for you, we're just gonna have to push you out to December or whatever, likely it's one of 2 things. One, either they're not being brushed and they don't have time for that dog and they just, it's costing them money, not making them money. There's other dogs that maybe are easier to groom or that do get brushed. And 2, your dog misbehaves on the table. So that also takes a ton of time and also puts a lot of wear on the body of the groomer. It's hard for them. It hurts their back, it hurts their shoulders. If they have to hold on to a dog while they're cutting, that's just really a lot of wear and tear on your body. And groomers are doing this for years and years and years. They cannot sacrifice their health for your dog. So there's 2 things you can do. Get obedience and get targeted obedience, or do it yourself. Get your dog on a table every, couple days. Give them treats and teach them how to stand still. And when they're not still, you tell them, stay still, be still, or stand, or stay, or whatever your word is, okay? So if I have to take this 60-pound dog and lift it to get it to stand up, it is gonna kill my back. So I'm gonna tell you, or I'm gonna show you what we do. I gotta chair in behind me. I'm going to just tap her on the stomach and say, stand. Good girl. She's a very slow responder. That's okay as long as they respond. Stand. Good girl. Okay, and then I'm going to put her feet where they belong. She knows I'm going to do that. And I'm going to ask her to stand. You stay there. Good girl. Stand. Yes, that's my girl. And then she's going to stand there until I tell her that she can sit down. So that's what we want them to learn, is how to be still when I touch their feet. I don't want them doing this. It's really hard to cut a moving target. And our scissors are even more sharp than human hair scissors, because they have to cut such dense curly hair. So they are like razors. If they move into the scissor while we're cutting, they're going to slice their skin open. And so not only is your dog dangerous for itself, but it's also dangerous for the groomer, because they have to pay for that. Sit down, please. Sit. So if they don't mind, no, I'm not doing your paws. Lay down. Really slow responder. Sit down all the way. But as long as I don't have to lift and lower them or twist, keep them from jumping off the table, and they're not up on my shoulder while I'm cutting them, or, that kind of thing, I'm going to want to take that dog. That one, she gets in the bathtub herself. She turns around by herself. She lays down by herself. I don't have to touch her body other than just little taps and little, sometimes I will take her while she's laying down just to keep her from getting up, and I'll just turn or move her around like this. And she knows that she's just got to stay still. She's got to stay like that. And so I'll turn her all the way around, but it's really easy once they're on the table. I can just slide them around, and then my table goes up and down. I don't let them jump off. I will make them get on and off by themselves, but I put it down low so they don't hurt themselves. But so your groomer might be, really wanting to take your dog and really like you personally, and really might like your dog, but they can't do something that's going to cost them a lot of time. And because they need to feed their children, and they need to put food on the table, they need to put food on their table, and they need to keep the roof over their head. And so, yeah, it does boil down to the money a lot of times, but they do have to make money. They're not going to do it for free. And if they have a choice between this doodle that pays them $120 and this doodle that pays them $120, this one's never been brushed, this one doesn't, it comes completely matted, and the owner is saying, I really don't want you to cut it short. This person is saying, and they don't train their dog to be still and to behave. And then this person over here has a dog that is a model dog that they train to obey, and they get it up on the table regularly. They brush it regularly. They maintain its health. They're going to take this dog in that slot that they have rather than this dog. And your dog is going to keep getting pushed out, pushed out, pushed out. So I'm just being honest with you, and it's for your own benefit. And if you're wondering, hey, why don't they want to take my dog? A lot of times that's why. And there are a lot of groomers now that aren't taking doodles anymore, because I love doodles' personalities as far as their love. Their love, love, love. They're the sweetest dogs. But for a groomer, they're extremely difficult because they don't settle down. They are a lot of times very nervous. And even though I can say, so poodles are very nervous too. They can be, because they're a thoughtful dog. They're thinkers. And so if they're worried about the dryer, or they're nervous too. But the difference between the poodle and the doodle is that the poodle, when they're nervous, they still obey and they still stay still. They actually freeze when they're nervous. But a doodle, when they're nervous, they spin around in circles, they lay down, they get up, they move their head around, they whine, they cry, they paw. They are just, they just are neurotic in a lot of ways. So, not all doodles, not all poodles. So, I've known neurotic poodles. That's a bad bred poodle. Shouldn't even be bred like that at all. And most doodles, yes, are a little neurotic. And therefore, that is why I try to educate people on what's the best dog for your family. Well, if you're going to brush the dog, then a poodle is probably superior to a doodle any day. Not all. I'm not putting them into only this or only that, because there's exceptions to every rule, as we all know that. But if you're not going to brush your dog, neither one, doodle nor poodle, don't do it. Unless you're going to shave them. If you keep your dog shaved, like my brother, he has a poodle. He has one of our poodles, and they don't care anything about the hair. They just love the poodle. They just love the dog because it's an amazing dog. They keep that dog shaved down to about, maybe a half an inch. And they're in Oklahoma. So, you know, ticks, fleas, whatever. I'm in Colorado, so it's easier to keep a long coat on my dog. But I'm just saying, if you're asking and you have the time to brush, to get regular grooms, to clip their nails, to just do basic stuff too with the dog, but brush it till it's completely mat free and keep the mats out of it. If you have all the time for that, this is a great dog for you. This is the perfect dog for you. They're great family dogs and they're wonderful. They're obedient and they're kind and they're gentle and they're extremely intelligent. Like they can do anything you ask them. Whether they want to or not maybe is a different story. But for the most part, poodles are biddable. We're supposed to be breeding them so that they want to do what they're told. Rose almost never disobeys me. It might take her a while to obey me. She's a very slow responder. And she's extremely smart and very thoughtful. And so she might do it slowly, but she always obeys me. And then there's, you know, Osa, who will almost always obey me. But she's faster. She responds faster. She loves obedience. But if there's something that she really doesn't want to do, she might try to turn around and go the other direction, and I might have to correct her for that. But most poodles are very biddable and very willing and very wanting to, you know, learn. They want to be challenged. They want a job. And so there is my take on why maybe your groomer is not wanting to groom your dog. And I'm sorry if this hurts your feelings. That's not what it was about. I'm just trying to be frank and honest with you and keep you from some, you know, of your own pain, but also keep your dog from pain. And so I hope this helps any of you guys to be a better dog parent, to be more conscientious of the animal that you have and take good care of it. If you want to see some other videos, I will pop them up here at the end and you can watch how the puppies are doing or some of my other grooms. They might be further down in my, maybe I'll just put one of them of a groom and one of them of the puppies up here. So, blessings. Have a great day. Bobby, will you gonna stand? Oh, what a good girl. Oh, put that back down. Once her body gets back to what it should be, then this will all be up here and she'll be back in shape in no time. So, there you go. Blessings.